I want to talk about something real quick because I was looking at something and somebody made a comment, but I don't think they made it a comment to be like sexist. And she said this person comment in somebody's chat who was doing a live saying that men are feminine. And the person that he hosted the live was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? So where's the masculine principle? Okay, well, I kind of get what that person in the chat was saying because I don't think they meant it to be like a feminist. I don't think they meant it to say that the female is dominant over. I don't know. Let me tell you something. I've listened to a couple of men, one being Bobby Hemmett, but I've listened to some men that say the same thing, that men are basically females. When you listen to some of these other conscious community, you know, you talk about how men, in so many words, they talk about how men are basically females, but there has been kind of a masculine principle created under this type of paradigm. I'm going to say under this type of paradigm, I'm going to say the masculine principle was created, but it's kind of false. And I've heard men say this kind of more than females have said it. Now, the females who do say this, they say it offline. Those kind of females are underground. They don't say that on public platforms where they can get attacked. So I kind of see where that person was coming from. You know, when it comes to the masculine is more something that is the false type of, it's really no such thing. See, like I said in a previous video that I just uploaded, about how the concept of male and female is a 3D type of thing. There's really no such thing as male and female. There is a feminine principle, but it's not about having a penis or a vagina. It's not about this concept of a man and a woman like you do in this type of, you know, in the way that we learned it, right? So I don't think that person that was saying that really meant any harm by that, because I have heard this before, and I kind of noticed. And you know, when the babies are born, when the babies are in the womb for the first 3 months, aren't they female? But even with that, I mean, men are really no different. See, there was a time, and I want to get more study into this. I'm not going to act like I'm perfect on it. But we know about the time of parthenogenesis, when there was only female, and the female gave birth to themselves, to the XX type of whatever chromosome. Something happened, I don't know, that she was split in two. That makes me seem like that those females or whatever fell in frequency. Something happened where she could no longer give birth by the process of parthenogenesis. So I don't know what came into this, what came to those females to cause them to fall, but they split in two, and then they required the help of semen to have children, whether it's a female or a male. But there are some women that I've heard that's doing that now, but they only giving birth to females. So like a lot of times the male is basically kind of the counterpart, as the female was split in two. So when that person said that, I don't think that they meant any harm. I do believe that they actually thinking about the time when there was only females, and when they fell in frequency and required, you know, to procreate with the opposite sex to have children. You know, that is still her counterpart. She split in two. It's still her, or it's still like the female, or what you would call the great mother or whatever, right? It's still her, even though it looked like a man. And I think that's what that person was trying to say. Now, maybe somebody else might know better about this, but I don't think the person that was the host really, I didn't listen to everything. I don't think they fully understood what that person was trying to say, because it's not like being some sexist type of remark as if the females are better, because there's no such thing as really a difference. We're counterparts of the feminine. Like the male is still a counterpart. The female and male, we're like the same. We come from the same. But let me tell you something. In this type of world right now, whatever reality, you know, like it's you don't know what you're looking at right now. Like you don't know what's here. It's like what you call it, like it's a mixture of everything. I don't want to call it Earth anymore. I don't even use the word Earth. I do not use the word Earth. This thing, you know, And the reason I don't call it that, because let me tell you something. I'm just too well aware that we're in a virtual reality. I'm too well aware of that. We've fallen the frequency and we've fallen down to 6 ether, and I think it's got worse than the 6 ether at this point. Because we keep getting pulled in and pulled into apps, but people don't know they're pulled into apps. I've seen it. Now, I don't know what's going on with other people. Just because you're able to see somebody on a computer or on YouTube doesn't mean that you're in the same type of consciousness. You're just able to see them. I can look at Tibetan monks on my YouTube and they're in a totally different reality, totally different. That's so, you know what I mean? But I've seen it. And most likely, if you're in the United States of America and around the area where there's a whole lot of Wi-Fi, I don't see how you're not getting caught up in that, no matter how intelligent and spiritual you are. I don't see how you don't get caught up in that fucking cloud unless you're doing something different to make sure you don't get caught up in that fucking cloud ever since 2020. Okay? And if you got caught up in that cloud, you definitely most likely have been pulled into apps. But you don't know it. Your life don't seem like it changed. I mean, nothing's different. Right? But anyway... I just want to just talk about that a little bit, because just saying that men are really female. First of all, I'm gonna tell you this: what we're seeing right now, we're seeing a lot of different type of species, and I don't want to. What do you call it? They call Earth. Somebody made a video saying Earth is basically a laboratory, right? Now, I don't like that word Earth as if this is some kind of planet, but I'm going to tell you, I've seen it, I've been above it. And I've been outside the planet in what you would call the darkness, and I've seen the whole planet. But I definitely see that we're in a digital dome too, because I also saw what looks like a snow globe in a vision. But then I also when I do certain types of meditations I don't want to get into, I literally saw the roundness and how they created on a digital type of pictures. I came out of it and saw that version of it too, because I'm in a virtual reality, and I saw that part too, and then so I was outside of everything, and it was just kind of darkness, but that's all I want to say. I don't want to get too far off the topic though. I just want to discuss that thing about the feminine. That's what I was saying. Somebody made a video talking about we're in the laboratory, and I feel that's why I don't get into the whole thing about men or women and what we're looking at right now, because whatever this is, I'm just gonna call it Earth just for the sake of saying it's Earth, even though I don't believe that. But Earth is pretty much a laboratory. And so to say everybody's feminine or female, I can't agree with that, because based on the fact that this is everything is, you don't know what the hell you're looking at. That's why I don't get into forgiveness of other people. I get into forgiveness for self. I never forgive something else, because you don't know what kind of energy you are forgiving. Why are you forgiving an energy that you know nothing about? Because what you think look like a human being is not a human being, okay? It's a lot of zombies, and I had to make sure I wasn't a zombie. I did some work to make sure that didn't happen, especially since 2020, okay? But it's a lot of zombies you looking at. There's some other entities that occupied those bodies, don't know what they are. So all this, that's why I don't get to forgiveness. It's not because you some anger at the other person. You don't know what the hell you're dealing with. You're forgiving the energy that you don't know what it is. Well, you forgive yourself. At least you know yourself, or you get to know yourself, because a lot of people don't know themselves. Get to know yourself. And give forgiveness for yourself. You create your reality a little better when you're in forgiveness of self. Then you create more of a reality you want. And I am preaching to myself when I say that. You are creating more of a reality that you want for yourself when you get into forgiving yourself. And I'm definitely going to keep saying that to preach to my fucking self. But not for nobody else when you don't know what the hell kind of energy you forgiving. And so I don't like when that's always taught. I'm really tired of people saying that, but I get it. Everybody's different. That's fine. Everybody's different. Everybody learn, and some people just won't never get it, and that's fine. That's fine. But anyway, I just want to talk about that masculine. No, from what we're seeing right now, everything that we see, I don't believe it's masculine that look like a man. I don't believe it's I don't believe that what we're seeing right now, everything that looks like a man is pretty much feminine. I don't believe that according to what this is right now, because this is a laboratory. You got any and everything up in here. But just the basics of what she's trying to say, I do see it. You know, it started off feminine, and then female was split in two. And I think she fell in frequency where she could not, somehow she fell where she could not give birth to her own likeness or whatever. And she was split in two, but that male or whatever, what you call a male, because it's not really a real thing. The soul or whatever is not the light body is not really male, and the soul is not really male. So we just call it a male, but it's really not male. It's really kind of no gender, so it's not a female either. But there is a feminine type of principle doesn't have anything to do with calling something a female or a male or whatever. You know what I mean? There's a feminine type of principle, right? So, because during parthenogenesis, which was billions and billions and billions of years ago, what did they really look like? Did they look like what you think look like a female right now? I don't think so. I think they were big. I think they were tall. They probably look like creatures. Okay? Because the human body was created by something else that came way after. You know, so, yeah, I got what that person was saying. You know, they're the counterparts. They're from the same one, but I can't completely agree, because some of the stuff that's here, they something else. I don't know where they come from. Okay, I don't want to dig down that rabbit hole either with them. I want to stay in my lane. I'm not going to dig in the rabbit hole about all these different species either. I'm not getting into that rabbit hole. I'm going to stay in my doggone lane and deal with I need to learn more about myself. How about that? I'm going to learn more about myself, and I'm talking about my true self, before I dig down any rabbit hole of some other species and all this other stuff. Learning about something else before I learn enough about myself. But anyway, yeah, that's it, and I'll talk later.